Good day. I am Caliso together with my partner Vincent Sojor. We are about to present a research proposal entitled Improving the Capacity of a Renewable Power System Using Solar Power Panel. So, Introduction. The background of the study in our research is with the world's natural resources depleting rapidly, humans must find a way to compensate. So solar energy is considered to be the best option for the people and modern industries as it belongs to the renewable category. So with the disappearance of the fossil fuels from the planet and the rising cost has forced countries to switch over to a sustainable energy source. So sun is the biggest energy supplier and is fully capable of meeting the energy needs of the earth in the distant future. So industry must overcome a number of technical issues to deliver renewable energy in significant quantities. So control is one of the key enabling technologies for the deployment of renewable energy systems. So solar power requires effective use of advanced control techniques. In addition, reliable electric supply cannot be achieved without extensive use of control technologies at all levels. So solar power plant exhibit changing dynamics, non-linearities, and uncertainties. So challenges that require advanced control strategies to solve effectively. The use of more efficient control strategies would not only increase the performance of these systems, but would increase the number of operational hours of solar and wind plants and thus reduce the cost per kilowatt hour produced. So our statement of the problem. So the uncertainty and intermittency of solar generation are major complications that must be addressed before the full potential of this renewable power system can be reached. So the researcher, provides an overview of a solar power panel with an evolution of electricity networks toward greater reliance on communications, computation, and control, which is a way aimed to improving it. So the application of advanced digital technologies like microprocessor-based measurement and control communications, computing and information systems, which are expected to greatly improve the reliability, security, interoperability, and efficiency of the electrical grid while reducing environmental impacts and promoting economic growth will be considered. So these are the objectives of the study. So to provide an overview on renewable power system and its capacity. Second, to examine ways of improving the capacity of renewable power system using the solar power panel and to identify the limitations of solar power system. So these are our research questions. So one, what are the ways of improving the capacity of renewable power system using solar power panel? Two, what would be the estimated improvement capacity in terms of kilowatt hour? 3. What are the limitations of solar power panel system? So the significance of this study is findings from this study will educate students on renewable power system with emphasis on solar power system. It will educate researchers on methods of improving the existing solar power technology. And this research will also serve as a resource base to other scholars and researchers interested in carrying out further research in this field. Subsequently, if applied, will go to an extent to provide new explanation to the topic. So the scope and limitations of the study is this study will cover approaches at improving the existing solar power technology with a view of optimizing the operation of the system and minimizing environmental impacts. So first, financial constraint. Insufficient fund tends to impede the efficiency of the researcher in sourcing for the relevant materials, literature, or information, and in the process of data collection, like internet, questionnaire, and interview. Next is the time constraint. So the researcher will simultaneously engage in the study with other academic work. This consequently will cut down on the time devoted for the research work.
Theoretical framework of the study. In the second half of 20th century, people faced a global problem environmental pollution caused by product of combustion of organic fuel. Even if we considered each branch of problem separately, the picture turns out to be terrible. For example, let's take into account of static on emission of harmful substances by cars in the distant of 1993. The environment was polluted by 14 million tons of carbon monoxide, 3.4 million tons of hydrocarbons, about 1 million tons of nitrogen oxide, and over 5,500 tons of highly toxic lead compound. If we consider the fact that more than 4 million cars are being manufactured every year, the production of rates constantly grow. It is possible to say that in years, all big cities in the world will get stuck in the smog. It is also necessary to remember about product of fuel combustion and thermal power station, flooding of vast areas with hydroelectric power station, and constantly endangered in the areas of nuclear power plant. Conceptual framework of the study. Solar power is produced in the two ways: by direct transformation of solar energy into current through photovoltaic panels, or by concentration of solar energy to create steam and drive a turbine concentrated solar power. Solar photovoltaic, which can be installed on your roof or in a large solar farms, are relatively easy to understand. Solar energy in front of light hits the solar panel, which excites electrons in the panel and create an electric current. The current created by solar panel is direct current or DC, and its flow into inverter box, which convert into alternating current or EC current, is which used by all of the appliances and electric grids. This chapter presented a synthesis of facts that support the following topics: the conversion of energy from light into electricity, solar energy potential, mathematical approach in determining efficiency and calculating time for battery to be completely charged. Review of related literature and study. Just a law of conservation of energy states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can only be transferred from one form to another. This is where the idea of solar energy came from, to transform the sun-ranging light into lifelong, and sustainable energy source for the human being. An online journal, how staff work, explained the process on how sunlight is converted into electrical energy. Light basically from the sun is absorbed by the photovoltaic cells, or commonly known as solar cells, and directly convert into electricity. When light strikes the semiconductor material, a certain amount of is absorbed, which means energy from the source is transferred into material, and magnetic field cause electron to flow into a certain direction that now produces the current. The power generated by PV cells or photovoltaic cells flows through a circuit diagram to charge the battery. Research methodology. The research design is ordered layout as shown in Figure 3. Solar panels, also known as modules, contain photovoltaic cells made from silicon that transform incoming sunlight into electrical rather than heat. So, in figure 3 shows how solar works. Photovoltaic module is used to generate electricity. Solar panel is made of photovoltaic cell. Photo means light and voltaic means the product of electricity. Photovoltaic cells has two layers of semiconductor. It is similar to battery. One layer is negative and the other layer is positive. This layer is protected by two outer cells made from special glass. The semiconductor absorbs photons or the radiation from the sun and, and transform to direct current electricity. Direct current electricity flows to the inverter which transfer power into AC or alternating current. The power flowing to the inverter is piped through a bidirectional electricity meter into the main panel which distributes the electricity throughout the house. The bidirectional meter display net power use minus network power produced. When, when the solar system generates more electricity than use the meter spin backward, and at night the excess electricity generated the day to feed back to the main panel. So solar panel have a life expectancy of 30 to 40 years. On average, utility costs rise by 6.7% annually. That means 335 pesos electric bill today will probably be around 36,000 in 25 years. So allow the sun to be your source of energy. Save the planet. Cut down or eliminate electrical spending. Increase property value and invest in solar today.